Back in Brussels today for the General Affairs Council. Chief on our mind, of course, is the impact on civilians of the escalating conflict in the Middle East, in Lebanon, in northern Israel. And of course, we condemn the actions both by Israel and Hezbollah and putting civilians at risk in those areas, as we are concerned about civilians in Gaza and, of course, the hostages, the Israeli hostages. And we hope to, we would call on all parties to de-escalate that conflict and to protect civilians. And we have asked for that to be on a big part of the discussion in the European Council. Also, Ireland has raised our concerns about the escalating humanitarian situation in Sudan. We have 12 million people displaced, 25 million people at risk of famine, and it's very seriously escalating conflict with significant humanitarian consequences. And Ireland has asked for a discussion on this at the European Council. Of course, at the forefront of our mind always in Europe is Ukraine and the difficult situation that continues to occur, the continued attacks by Russia on civilian infrastructure, on energy infrastructure, with over 80% of energy installations damaged in some way, with Ukraine operating at 32% of its normal energy capacity. We are very concerned, and have been in Ireland for a very long time, about winter becoming unlivable in Ukraine unless there are urgent measures. And of course we support the measures announced by the Commission last week, but would focus on rebuilding the energy capacity of Ukraine as soon as possible, while continuing to condemn in the strongest possible terms the ongoing aggression by Ukraine. We had a good discussion in advance of the European Council meeting on competitiveness and setting up initial thoughts around that for the initial European Council discussion in relation to that, and a very good and detailed discussion on the horizontal rule of law report by the Commission. Very important that we all hold ourselves to account within the European Union, that we all focus on the quality of our democratic and political institutions. That goes for member states, including the presidency. Very, very important that we maintain our democratic standards and the protection of fundamental rights in the European Union. And we also had a discussion with 4 of our accession countries, Albania, Montenegro, North Macedonia and Serbia, about their respective progress on the rule of law, measures that they need to improve upon in order to become European Union members, and to try to provide encouragement to them and their officials on the very considerable work that has gone in already, the progress that has been made, and recognising that the political institutional changes that they are made against a difficult backdrop of organised crime and other very significant domestic pressures. But nevertheless, the rules are the rules, and they must reach the standards set by EU members, and we must hold ourselves to that standard as well.
Minister, just on the commentary around Ireland's Commissioner appointment, Michael McGrath, André was writing that it was the job that no one wanted, and Ireland's stock had fallen, so low in Brussels. What's your kind of response to that?
Well, all day long we've been talking about the rule of law, the protection of democratic institutions in the European Union, and Michael McGrath now is the Commissioner with responsibility for this. Never at a more important time, I would suggest, where we have accession countries that we hope will come towards Europe and away from the pressure of the eastern neighbour, that they will come to the fundamental values of Europe. And we also have significant rule of law issues within our existing member states, with continued difficulties in Hungary and concerns emerging in Slovakia. So I think of all times, now is the time to hold that rule of law brief and to be a very strong advocate for the values of the European Union, to be a very strong advocate for democracy, for good political institutions. And somebody of Michael McGrath's calibre is, I think, well placed to really do that job effectively on behalf of Europe. So I wish him well. I mean, certainly my experience in GAC has shown me quite how central the rule of law has always been to the EU. But now at this time, at this difficult political time that we face, this geopolitical difficulty in Europe, it has never been more important. And I wish him well with his preparation for the parliamentary hearings, and I wish him well with his brief, on the assumption that, of course, he does well there.
Do you think Ireland's stock has fallen?
No, I don't believe so. I think Ireland works at the centre of Europe constructively as much as possible. We are at the EU, we are been net recipients, we are net contributors, we understand both of those perspectives. We work very constructively with our Nordic Baltic friends in particular on some of the different bigger budgetary issues. I have spent as much time as I can on bilateral engagements with my colleagues. I met my new Swedish counterpart today, I met my new Finnish counterpart last week, indeed travelling to different member states to reaffirm and deepen our relationships right across Europe, right from Romania to Portugal, right across Europe. And I think it's important for a smaller country like Ireland, who has been an EU state for a very long time, to always focus on those relationships. As Minister for European Affairs, I've placed a large emphasis on the EU jobs programme and trying to encourage more and more graduates to consider Europe as part of their career development, as part of their career opportunity. There are wonderful jobs available here in the Commission and in the different institutions. And while we might in Ireland look too easily or too readily perhaps at the Anglo-Saxon world, Europe is right here, and there is a phenomenal opportunity to be part of it and to contribute to it. And we want to see more Irish people engaging in the institutions and coming to work and be part of the European life here in Brussels and in the different institutions.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Thanks so much. Have a good day.